Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to the video. Today's vehicle is a 2010 Chevy Silverado, and I'll be doing a full interior detail on it, because this thing is pretty dirty. Having a look around the inside of this truck, and it's very clear it hasn't been cleaned in a really long time. There's all sorts of dirt and grime everywhere you look. The seats are dirty and stained both front and back. And then looking past all the tools and other stuff in the back, we can see the carpets are really dirty and have quite a few stains in them, so the extractor is going to get a good workout today. Now, just before we jump into the video, guys, make sure you take a quick second and subscribe to the channel and turn the bell on so you don't miss out on any future videos. Alright, so as you guys can see, I've got a fair bit of work ahead of me to get the inside of this truck looking good, so let's get started. Alright guys, so since this truck is used as a work truck, we've got some coveralls, some ratchet straps, tools, and other loose items to get removed before we can start on vacuuming. And so what I do when I get a vehicle in with some of the customer's items left in it, I throw out all the obvious garbage, and everything else gets put off to the side or in a bag, and then usually left in the back seat when the vehicle's picked up. So you guys have probably seen before that the center consoles on these GM trucks are massive and hold a ton of stuff. Luckily this one wasn't full to the top, but it did seem like everywhere I looked in this truck, I kept finding more stuff to pull out of here, especially in the back. I don't think I've ever seen the seat pockets so full of stuff before. And now looking at it all laid out, and this truck might just take the prize for having the most stuff in it when it was dropped off. And now quick contest guys, how much change did I pull from the truck? Leave your guess down below. Turning to the seats now, and because these are cloth, I'm actually able to get a fair bit of the dirt and dust out of them with just the vacuum. So it's definitely important to do a really thorough job at this stage before using the extractor on them, especially since there's some dog hair in here that I don't want to end up running through it and clogging it up. So moving on to one of my favorite parts of any detail, and that's getting the carpets vacuumed. And I think the reason I enjoy it so much, and probably why it's so satisfying to a lot of you, is because the change is so instant, and in a lot of cases the carpets look new again after a good vacuum. Now unfortunately in this truck they are full of dirt, and if you look at the right side there was clearly some sort of drink spilled in the passenger footwell, because that area is way darker than anywhere else, so I'm expecting the water to be pretty colorful when I extract that area. And now if any of you are interested in sneak peeks, behind the scenes stuff, or just want to say hey, make sure you give me a follow over on Instagram. That is definitely the best place to stay up to date on things. So on the driver's footwell here, you can see there's some dirt that's really embedded in the fibers by the gas pedal. So using the drill brush, I can get most of that loosened up, and I definitely recommend using these drill brushes with an 18-volt drill, as it will just offer a bit more of the torque needed to get that dirt lifted and up to the surface over using a 12-volt drill. Alright, so getting started on these seats, and again I'm using the drill brush to agitate and get the dirt loosened up, and then starting with the extractor, I'll make several passes over the seat, continuing to spray water to help further dilute the remaining solution. And I've probably said before, but when you're extracting on seats, you want to make sure you're pressing down fairly hard to make sure you compress the foam underneath so you can get as much of the water out as possible. So I'm collecting the dirty water in a 5-gallon pail so I can show you guys one big pour at the end. Moving to the driver's seat, and this was definitely the dirtiest of all the seats, as you can imagine. And since it's got that tear in the fabric, I'm just being careful to not catch it with the drill brush so I don't make it any worse. But seeing the foam under there and how incredibly thin that layer of fabric is should hopefully show you that you don't want to be using tons of solution or water on the seats, as that foam will soak it up super quick and make it really hard to get them dry. Starting on the carpets underneath the rear passenger seat, and you can already see glimpses of that spilled drink I was talking about earlier, as the water is coming out a bad burrito shade of brown. Okay, so getting to one of the dirtier areas of the carpet back here, and you can already see the drill brush is bringing up some funky colored solution. So you can really see how well this combo of the drill brush and carpet solution works to get the stuff lifted out of the fibers and ready to be sucked away by the extractor. And if you guys don't already know, the machine I'm using here is a Bissell Spot Clean Professional, and it's an absolute workhorse when it comes to extracting. I've used this machine on tons of vehicles now, and with this truck in particular, I spent a couple hours extracting the seats and carpets, basically continuously using this thing and only stopping to fill and empty the tanks, and it has no issue keeping up. Honestly, this is one of the best pieces of equipment I've ever bought, my favorite to use, so if you guys are at all curious about it, I highly recommend taking a look. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. So on the center portion here again, there's some pretty funky water coming up, and so I'm always paying close attention to that so that I know if there's any areas that might need additional passes or even might need more solutions, since these carpets aren't clean until the water comes up perfectly clear. So I did decide to add some more solution here and agitate again, since I really wasn't happy with the color of the water I was seeing, and I knew they weren't quite clean yet. So before I get to the driver's footwell, I'm busting out the steamer here to make quick work of these dirty pedals. Alright guys, so here's all the dirty water collected from this truck, and although it might look lighter than what came through the extractor, that's just because I make so many passes where I'm adding water, which ends up diluting the dirty water a bit. But even still, it's pretty nasty to see what came out of this truck. So you might have noticed when I was extracting, but I ended up removing these trim pieces here since they were so dirty and I wanted to vacuum and extract underneath them. So after spraying on some all-purpose cleaner, I'm using the steamer with the brush attachment to agitate and get any dirt out of the cracks, and then I just wipe it clean with a dry microfiber towel. Moving to the rest of the trim, and I'm spraying some APC diluted 10:1 directly onto the door panels. Just be careful to not spray it on the switches, and then wiping everything down with a slightly damp microfiber towel. Then for the switches, I'll spray some directly into the brush, agitate, and then wipe it clean. So now that everything is nice and clean, I'm applying my absolute favorite product, and that is 303's Aerospace Protectant, which is going to provide incredible UV protection for all the plastics and leave the whole interior with that freshly detailed look for about 4 to 6 weeks. I've got the link in the description, so feel free to check that out if you guys are interested. Moving to the glass, and I always spray my Meguiar's glass cleaner directly onto the towel first and then wipe the windows down, as that way I avoid any overspray onto the rest of the vehicle. Alright guys, and a little over 6 hours later, I'm done with this truck. If you add in the exterior, I probably spent a little over 8 hours on it. And once again, the Bissell extractor has done an amazing job with those filthy carpets. Now if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.